Streaming. Hello, everyone. This is episode 234, and we decided we'd just do a chill and me show this time. So it's just the two of us. Not much. In fact, there is so little news. It is appalling. It's like every dev post was about exactly the same thing this week, with one exception. So we don't have a lot to say. Now, let me just quickly flesh out my week, because we should talk about raiding, which was KP, and we did do tomorrow's courtyard as well. Courtyard. Did we do anything else? We wanted to talk about the KP puzzle boss in story mode. The rest of it was fairly, and our new roles, which was Chill and I healing, Kuze or Buze, and
That's right.
Mosque healing. No, tanking.
I'll have to let him know that Buze is Kuze.
Oh, I think they'll work it out.
Joke. Yeah.
Feel free to point it out if you choose.
Yes.
Alright, that's that. I'm ready to record with my static. So if you are listening to this live, I'll probably try to clean it up. I've got some static on my mic, and I suspect one of the gadgets attached to my mixer is on its last legs, so I'll probably switch to a USB microphone, which I tried last week, but its volume was terrible, and I couldn't work out any way to increase the gain. If I have to, I'll buy a new mic, but I really don't want to, because I hate buying stuff which I already own. So
Yep.
that just sucks. Alright, chill. Let's have a look. There are 11 tips this week. 11. Now, I think... Let me just work this out. Chill. No, tier...
Just realized that today's podcast, that is a bit of a tongue twister, and I hope I get it right.
You can always have a second take, or third take.
True, I suppose, especially this week. Let me get Audacity rolling.
I'm going to give you all the odd ones, and I'll take the even.
Okay.
Oops.
Come on, why is Audacity so slow? That's interesting.
What's wrong?
Just Audacity's... I'm gonna try it again. I've noticed... There we go. Test. Okay, looks fine. Ever since Windows 10, I've that weird issue where my mic is acting slow and stuff. It's like everything that wants to use the mic, it has to take a long time before it figures out whether it's available or not, and then it finally goes.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's ever since Windows 10. That's the one thing that it's kind of bummed me out, because it's not worked great. I'm considering, it has that extra stuff. Remember, and you told me not to do it, which is it's the enhancements for the blah blah blah.
Did I? Oh.
Yeah. Well,
well, what's the harm?
I had a problem, and I mentioned, should I remove them? I said, no, don't touch it.
If you've got time to sort it out, then...
But maybe
sure.
I should just take some time, sort it out. Maybe next time I stream or something, see if it'll actually help. I don't know if it will or not, actually, now that I think about it.
It can't hurt to play with it.
Yeah.
Hello, Gahana. Just responding to him in chat. The chat seems one-sided.
Yeah. Okay.
It can get a bit strange sometimes.
At least yeah. Yeah.
Alright, now I have not... Jeez, I had not much time this week. I might have some fun with that. Oh, God. Oh, I like reading stuff. I can read usually fairly well. Off the cuff. Decion, you have indeed provided us. Geez, you must have been waiting for those progress bars for ages when you wrote this. How do you pronounce Atohiwas? Hiowas? Atohi.
I don't know. Where are you right now?
Let me ask the chat room. Pronunciation? Just put it in chat.
Atahiwas?
Atahiwas.
Atahiwas? It's the easiest way to pronounce it.
Yeah, that works for me.
No way to tell if it's correct.
Oh, was that the guy with the
I've
Native
definitely seen the
American
name before.
Yeah,
Huh?
no, he talked us through it, I think. He was a guy with the Native American
He may have
something.
I'll probably need to say it one more time before I get it.
Luckily, it's something I'm reading, Chill, unless he's in chat, in which case,
Okay.
good luck. Alright, let's not muck around any longer. Oh, what's that? That's not cool. I need to put that somewhere I can see it better. I need 3 monitors. Did I mention at work? At work I've got 2 computers and each has got 2 monitors. I've got an array of 4 monitors. It's ridiculous. One of them IT was supposed to take away, but they kind of forgot, so I just ended up with 4.
And they all work? Wow.
Oh yeah. 3 of them are widescreen there.
great.
It's really, really nice. So I'm not complaining at all.
Yeah. Believe it or not, I'm still streaming and with just the one.
Do you
Yeah. Well, for chat, I actually pull out my phone and I use the Twitch app
Yeah, that
for
would.
the most part. Unless I need to ban someone, then I open up a thing.
No, I've got it all squeezed into one widescreen at the moment. The other one's just for other stuff. But anyway, we digress.
Yes.
Maybe I should put the camera up there.
Audacity's rolling.
Yep.
Got it on
let's-
stereo or studio
roll.
rather.
Whoa, you do now? Why can't I hear you? Were you not talking? Oh shit. Am I still here? Chill's. Oh, this is perhaps what happens when Chill sometimes has to be. He's forced to log in again from Windows Explorer, because I'm pretty sure he's still using Windows Explorer. Ironically, that's the best way to run a Google Hangout for him. If he uses Chrome, it just screws up. You probably try again with Windows 10. No, actually no, it's just me. No, are you back?
Okay, I'm back.
All right. Yep.
Okay. Yep.
Yeah. Apparently, people could hear me.
Right.
You were frozen.
I think, you know what, it was the same thing. I touched something that was related to my microphone, and sure enough, it decided to
Right.
give a long, nice pause before it decided whether it could continue or not. So,
your audio's louder too. Is that
Is it?
intentional? Yeah.
yes, actually. Hang on a sec. Let me make sure this is in stereo. This might, or studio. Okay, it is. So I'm just
No.
going to leave it, and
so
I've readjusted the microphone. It's
Excellent.
normal.
That's perfect.
All right.
All right. So again, apologies for the static on my track. I'm probably going to sound like a robot when I actually clean it up, but at least it's a constant hum.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's very steady, so...
That's easy to actually remove using my tools. That's tools with a Z or Z. All right. Are we ready?
Yes.
Then let us do this.
Going in 5. Hi, and welcome to the OotiniCast, the podcast that has isolated the reverse power flux coupling. This is episode 234, being recorded on Wednesday, November 11th, 2015. I'm your host, Chill, with our producer and co-host, Tio. Hi, Tio.
Hey guys, and well done for not choking on that.
Thank you. Yeah. Surprisingly complicated sentence there from C3PO. And we're just by ourselves today, no guests. So, Tio, what'd you do this week?
Well, I usually would have more time to think about this, but since we're straight to me, let's see. Raiding. We raided. It's just the one day this week. I'm pretty sure it was the second day that we would normally run on.
Yeah.
And what we did was yet another story mode, the Group Finder story mode of the day, which was Karaga's Palace. So,
Yes.
yeah, it's good to be back in there, not in God mode, since it's all been raised up to the wonderful level 65. I was on my Commando Healer for the first time, who was freshly outfitted in 192 stuff and was level 60, because that's pretty much... I'd leveled him up at some point and hadn't touched him again, so I'd spec myself for healing. Never healed on a Commando before. For better or for worse, I didn't really look up any kind of guides. I was just doing it by feel. I knew that the probe thing that you stick on people is important. That gives you the 7 things, equivalent to the Shaman's Earth Shield. So that was challenging. Yeah, I was doing okay, I thought. And then just before the second boss, the big guy, you get through the force field, the big guys there, the ads come occasionally. I realised I wasn't in the correct cell support. I was in DPS, and then I switched to support cell.
Okay, that was the
things got a little bit better after that. Yeah. So, I quite like.
That was easier.
I think so.
That's actually not a bad way to go. You know, if you're learning something and you give yourself even a little bit of a handicap beyond that, then all of a sudden, when you're in the right stance and whatever, all of a sudden it's easy mode.
Well, it's to some extent. But yeah, I make my own hard mode. So there weren't too many deaths. I thought I was doing all right. Trooper, from what the guys were saying, Commando healers are actually a bit underpowered at the moment. Usually they were prior to 4.0. They're doing really well. At the moment they're doing not so well. I didn't have any trouble. I could not get Star Paths to work again. Like the previous week, it started up, but then the window never appeared. This week, it didn't even get that far. So I'm going to have to uninstall and reinstall again, so I don't know what's going on there. So I might have to talk to Exile and ask what's going on.
Right, we seem to have gotten every potential variant on that. It's worked fine for me from the beginning. You've had these issues overall. We've had other folks who have just reinstalled once, and now it seems to be fine. So, yeah, I'm not sure what the deal is. So.
Me either. Well, I got all the way to level 64 and a bit, so not all the way through to 65. That was, we completed Karaga's Palace, and we also did Tabaran's Courtyard, both story mode. I don't think you got any gear either, but whatever, it doesn't matter. Now, the one thing about Karaga's Palace, it was fun to do it again, and it was kind of challenging. Well, no, not really, let's be honest.
Semi-easy, but it helps. The fact that we're not all geared up, and we're still learning our new positions and everything. It's all
yes. So
that keeps it a little challenging, but it wasn't that bad.
Our Permi healers are pretty much myself and Chill now. Chill on his Dark Sage, and me on my Commando. And our regular tanks are our former healers. That is Booze. Yes, that is Kuze. Booze and Mosk. So those guys actually did a really good job, to be honest. So, and we did our best to keep him alive. Mosk only got one shot once, I think. I was healing him in Tabaran's Courtyard, where he didn't get the buff from the canisters. You wouldn't think you'd need that, but apparently these days it's kind of important. So he had to make sure he reapplied that whenever it dropped off, every 2 or 3 rounds of the laser.
I remember it well.
Now, the one thing about Karaga's Palace we did want to talk about, we were shocked when we got into the third boss, the puzzle boss, where you have the panels and... No, it's the third one. Is there a fourth one?
Fourth, yeah. Rancor, when we got Mercenaries, to the Giant Rancor, and then the puzzle boss.
There you go. When we got to the puzzle boss, which apparently is the fourth boss, we were appalled to discover that normally you would have to actually solve the puzzle, which is a variant of the Towers of Hanoi, where you have to move. You have the 2 sticks and the 3 discs of different sizes, and the challenge is to move them from one to the other, with the rule that a bigger one cannot be on a smaller one. You do have an intermediate stick as well to move them across. If one of those fundamental problems that you solve in computer science when you're learning how to program, because you can write a program to do that. Anyway, we got there and it was solved, and basically the way it works now is you can just dump any of them or any of the 3 positions, and there's just a timeout. How long was
Yeah,
it,
it's just a
Chill?
timer.
Because you were up there flicking the switch.
Yeah, it was weird. I was healing, but it was so easy that I could just run back, click it, come back. I don't know, 40 seconds, something
Right.
like that. I didn't
Yeah.
actually time it, but it felt like that, somewhere around there.
Clearly, this is a story mode thing. I'm pretty sure before in story mode, you did still have to solve the puzzle.
Oh, yeah,
But now,
absolutely.
nah. And no droids either. No ads at all. Just the puzzle, just the big guy and the dumping. And we were moving the droid back and forth, and we thought, what the hell are we doing? So we just left him in place and just just burned him down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The only trick to it was making sure everyone was out of the dumping area when you dumped it, because it did do incredible amounts of damage still. But that was
Indeed.
really the only mechanic at that
Yep.
point.
Dump it on the boss, and
Yeah.
then when it wears off, should be up to do another dump and rinse and repeat.
Pretty much, yep.
Did he enrage? Did we screw around so he enraged? Was that a
Maybe.
different boss? Yeah.
I think
Either
he
way.
enraged for a bit, yeah. It was all
That
good,
was the first boss. Didn't he enrage because we took too long? We were trying to do it with 7 people. No, we lost a couple
Yeah.
of people early and
though.
things got bad. But anyway, overall, pretty solid run. Well, that's just a story mode, so it's not like it was difficult. And yeah, overall, I'm looking forward to hard modes, but I think what we're going to do is just stick with this stuff and make sure we get all our set bonuses on updated
Okay.
gear, because of course this is the only place to get gear that drops set bonuses. You do have 7 to collect, so you could be doing this for a while. Or we may just get bored and go straight in the hard mode. We'll see.
We'll see indeed.
Now, aside from that, for personal reasons, I didn't actually get much chance to play. I did play a little bit more on my Marauder, I think, and did push my Alliance stuff along a little bit more. I started killing those beasts for Kaizen on Hoth as part of my Alliance, but yeah, I had some good advice from Greg in the last week's show. But yep, other than that, sadly, nothing. I didn't even get to participate in the extra live streaming. I was all set up to do it, but yeah, other stuff got in the way of that. But anyway, that's my week. How about you, Joel?
Alright, sure. First, a shout out to the chat room. Bill646 is here. Black Swotor, Beware 2, Darth Brundlefly, Dekion, Demerzel85, Dreadx, Force Chuckle, Fianha, Gahana, Gas Guy is here. How do I pronounce that? Likaioi? I don't know. Enixis, Ivana Tinkle, I get it. Thank you, Bart Simpson. Palace, Pratel, Arjar75, Siskayetka, Snave is here, Sukaiberu, Swotor Addict, Tadra, Trig PT, and Zamzam, the PvPer is here. And hello, everyone. Let's see. Yeah, I had, unfortunately, when it came to the Extra Life, I really wasn't able to participate either, as it turned out. I had a mandatory overtime that took up a lot of the day, and then I was exhausted, had to take a nap. Then pretty soon after that, it was time to do the GGC. So I did the Galactic Gamers Coalition podcast, and actually I also did the Geek podcast this week. The GGC was just released earlier today by our time. And the Geek podcast, Alex Mix-Up Pixels, our former guest, is the host of that. And we talked last week, but he is still editing it. I'll let you know when he releases it. It's going to be a very spoilerific hot fee talk, so that'll be coming out probably pretty soon, I would imagine. He didn't give me a specific time, though.
Okay.
Yeah, but between the GGC and the overtime and being exhausted and blah, 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 I really didn't get to help out anyone with their Extra Life, so I was kind of sad about that. But a few
did
things
you-
that...
Just one thing. Did you know the Galactic Gamers Coalition had been published?
Yeah,
So, okay.
I mentioned it. It was it
Yeah,
came
I'm
out
sorry.
today.
I got distracted. Yeah,
That's okay.
all good.
Right. I did do a couple streams, though, and got basically worked on Alliance stuff, pretty much. You know, finished up the story on the Dark Sage and then worked on the Alliance. Found out a couple quick things. You know how the random mount can include rocket boosts, which I still think it should be turned off, but you know, it's part of a random mount right now. But when you do get it, it doesn't put rocket boost on cooldown, which is kind of cool. Which means if you want to, if you know when it runs out, you can just use it again right away. So kind of takes a little bit of the sting out of it. Because if you get it now, you can use it again right away. And usually it's pretty rare for me to need more than 24 seconds or whatever that adds up to of actual speeder time. So that actually worked pretty well. The Act Dog companion before this week did not scavenge. I was not able to go out in the field and have him scavenge droids and whatever and bioanalysis. And instead, you'd have to do it. You'd have to shift click it so that you do it so that your own character does it, which was kind of annoying. But now it does. So I'm not sure if they fixed that or I assume that was a fix, but it could have been some weird thing because I was halfway through the story or something. I don't know. And also, of course, the Act Dog isn't available during large parts of the coffee story. But anyway, now that I'm done with the story, I have the Act Dog out all the time, and it does scavenge. So, yeah. Anyway, that seems to be fixed. And he scavenges with his collar. So the collar is kind of like their go-to thing when they're not sure how to make something seem realistic. They just go ahead and make it, the collar did it. So if you're healing, he has the doggy spit is like one ability.
Right.
All the other abilities are like the collar does it. So that's how that works. Let's see. And I did do the Star Fortress a couple of times now. So I did it the one time through to kind of open everything up, and then I ended up doing Tatooine, and it's really a nice instance. It's really atmospheric. There's lots of little details and things. They have little windows you can kind of see through to see other parts of the fortress and stuff, or sometimes even outside. It's a really nice looking instance. I'm very happy about it, although I'll be doing it a lot, so I'm glad I like it. And yeah, so and overall, I am liking the Alliance like I thought I would. It does feel like you're actually doing something that helps your character, and because of that, makes me want to participate in it more than if it felt more like a daily. So I'm pretty happy with that, and I'm gonna obviously really haven't done all that much with it, but got a couple of extra companions now, and I actually have to go back to Tatooine because I missed it. When I looked back on it, it made more sense, but basically every Star Fortress, there's pretty much going to be a companion story there also, and you should really do both at the same time. I didn't know that, but so I'll go back to Tatooine one more time and finish that up. So yeah, so it was not a ton of game time, but it was a lot of fun, and I'm digging to see what else happens with the Alliance, and then moving on to Chapter 10.
I guess with the Alliance stuff, it's a perfect drop in. There's all kinds of stuff you can be working on and just working on over time. You don't have to commit a long single period of time to it, but there's so much to do. I can see it just taking ages.
Yeah.
Ages to get through it all.
Yeah, and definitely it'll definitely be a crystal sync too, as far as getting all those things turned into your little Alliance leaders. So yeah, but I do like when you turn in those boxes to the leaders, then you also get a little box of stuff back that you get to open up, and it even has the little animation with the box opening, and you get to see what's in it. So that's it feels very nice.
Yeah.
It's silly, I know. Anyway, all right. Well, that was our week, so we're on to the tip of the week, and we've got a lot of them this time, 11 of them. Which has been the theme ever since Coffee dropped. People have found a lot of new stuff to talk about, which is awesome. First tip from Rendrin. A joke first. If you want to play a game with no substance, try Hollow Chess. Ba-dum-bum.
Oh, that's awful.
Continues.
Yeah.
Yes. Combat difficulty was a hot topic in episode 231, and I have some feedback. In the areas of cinematic story, vary the abilities used from fight to fight to make combat more interesting, and remember how some attacks interact differently with the various enemy strength levels. Another thing you can try is being a DPS with a DPS companion, and do this solo in a heroic Star Fortress mission. That does sound tricky.
Make your own hard mode, yeah, and this is along the lines of what Turg suggested as well, particularly doing it without a companion or with a DPS companion. No heals for you, though I noticed in Star Fortress they did have the healing consoles in a few places for the boss fights. Or did I imagine that? Do you remember?
I'm sorry, what in the drop fights?
The healing
yeah, they
consoles.
were the boxes in the actual boss fights. at least the last one. I'm not
Yeah.
sure about the first one.
Yeah.
I think that last one only, maybe.
Okay. All right, our second tip is from Patrick of Baker and Colony. For those playing on a Mac using Parallels, I guess there are some of you out there, you rarely have to shut the game down or even log in. Simply suspend the desktop once you are through playing, and this will freeze Windows. When you're ready to play again, resume Windows and reconnect to the server. If there is a patch, it will force you to restart the game. This even works with the security code.
Wow.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Jeez. I wonder if you suspend Windows, put it to sleep, and then restart it, will that also likewise stay connected? Probably, actually.
Yeah.
Good advice.
So I assume Parallels is like Boot Camp, or it's the new version of Boot Camp?
Parallels is I think it's a virtual machine, so you don't actually have to reboot the PC. You can just running the VM, basically, running
Wow.
Windows in a virtual machine on
In,
while still
and
running
yet
OS
still
10.
also be in Apple. Wow.
Yeah.
In iOS or whatever it's
Yep.
called. Cool. That is neat. All right. Third tip from the unnamed hero of the Grievance Guild on Jedi Covenant. If you're trying to increase your influence with your Alliance specialists, but have already completed all the weekly hard mode 2s, or just the
Heroic
ones that
2s.
aren't a pain, I'm looking at you, McKeb. Have no fear. The only requirement to get the lockbox to drop is B level 61. This will allow you to farm the boxes on alts that you don't want to go through the Kotfi storyline, such as crafting alts to avoid companion bloat on the crew skills UI. So you can get the lockboxes as long as you're level 61. Interesting.
Right, okay.
So you could actually farm them on your alts, and are they bound to legacy? Can you send them to other
I
characters?
believe they are, but I can't remember. I think they've got the icon indicating they
I
are
think that
bound to
I
legacy.
seem to remember that icon, yeah, but I didn't
Yeah.
think about it because I would never have thought that there'd be a reason for it, but now there's a reason for it. Nice.
And for Snave, 6. Does that amuse you? I don't know. I'm supposed to sound. It's supposed to sound weird if I say it. I don't get it. Yeah. All right. Next is the fourth tip from Born to Eat Bacon. Companions on strike. Although companions are now capable of performing all 3 roles, they aren't very happy about it. In fact, if you change their role, they will totally snub you, refusing to gather or just about anything. They will continue this rude behaviour until released and resummoned. Never realised how petty they can be. Now, this particular behaviour I had not observed, more or less because I leave my companions as healers and then never touch it again, basically. So, if that is clearly a bug, so hopefully they'll fix that, because that's kind of annoying.
Right. I'll remember that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Next time I have a companion who won't gather, I'll see if that fixes it.
Yeah.
So they are bind on legacy. Good.
Okay. Good. Thank you.
All right.
Wow.
Fifth tip from Tate Ransom of the Shadowlands. Good morning, OotiniCast. I noticed something when I activated my instant level 60 character. I made a Mary Ellen, a race I'd never played much before. Out of curiosity, I checked my legacy, and I noticed that I have Mary Ellens unlocked on my legacy, so I can make any new character a Mary Ellen. I know a lot of people have already unlocked all the starting races, but if you have not, this is a quick and easy way to unlock one of them. It does not appear to apply to the new races, so you can't use this to unlock Cathar or Togruta.
The ones you have to pay for. Wow.
That makes sense, because you automatically have quote-unquote finished the class story,
Yeah.
and that's the requirement for unlocking that species for other classes.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah. Cool.
Another bonus of the Insta-60. Oh, the hum went away.
No, it's still there, I'm afraid. I can see it
can't
on
hear
my
it
track.
right now.
Yeah,
Okay. Interesting.
All right. Now, the next tip is from Tiadra of the Utini Knights Guild on the Harbinger. I hope you're all enjoying Kotfi as much as I am. My tip this week has to do with the heroics. My first tip in this regard is simply to make sure you are doing those bonuses. They give a decent chunk of experience, and anywhere from 12,000 to 24,000 credits. However, my second tip has to do with how to gain even more experience and credits from those same bonuses. If you can get guildies to go along with you, when you complete a bonus, you get the experience and credits from completing the bonus for yourself. But You also get a similar amount of experience and credits from each member of the group who also completes a bonus. That means a bonus that is worth roughly 14,000 credits and 75,000 experience is now worth around 56,000 credits and 300,000 experience. Those are level 65 numbers, so your mileage may vary depending upon your level. I did 3 planets worth of heroics, Balmara, Drummond, Cast and Coralia, without an experience boost at level 60 and hit 65 before we finished with only one other person in my group, and I netted about 1.2 million credits.
Wow.
Alright, so let's just talk about that. That doesn't sound right. The way they changed the group experience was normally you get a penalty if you were doing it in a group when like someone was massively over leveled or whatever. Mm-hmm. And so they changed it so everyone gets the same experience as if you were doing it alone effectively. But I didn't think the idea was to multiply it based on the number of people in the group. That's strange.
Well, it would if that's true, that would also explain why we're getting so much experience in operations.
It would, yeah. Yeah, something ain't right there. But anyway, Tiadra continues. Another good tip is unless you want to get to Odessen, you'll find out where that is if you haven't got that far, before level 65, don't waste your credits or cartel coins on the Legacy Quick Travel. You can easily get to Odessen without it by using the Travel to Contact and travelling to any of the Alliance leaders or even C2N2. That's true, actually. Particularly the one for the droids, the ship droids. They have a Travel to Contact which will take you into the Cantina area, which is where the quick travel point is, or you can get to the contacts which are inside the phased area, which is personal to you. And Tiadra's last final tip has to do with a possible workaround for the companion mission that requires you to go down to the Rakul tunnels and the somewhere else afterwards. During the part in the tunnels, if you put down your probe and it says it's already active, do not worry, simply stay in the area and you will get credit as well when it finishes. Once you finish in the tunnels and finish the last part, it requires you to retrieve a specimen. The only problem is that for some people, and this morning when I finished it, it was happening to a lot of people, the item isn't actually showing up to retrieve. And if you reset the mission, you have to start all over again. But not to worry, if the item doesn't show up for you, simply switch instances, and when you load in, it will pop up and you can retrieve it. That's an excellent workaround. Now, what I believe that Tiadra is referring to kind of roundabout way is that there is a new companion, Dr. Loken, available when the Rakul event is live, and only when the Rakul event is live. So and the Rakuls are back, they're on Alderaan at the moment, and this is basically a week opportunity, a single 1 week opportunity to get Dr. Loken as a companion. Apparently the alert will turn up in your Alliance window, though you have to have completed a certain number of the initial Alliance missions, got a certain number of them, I think 4 Alliance companions, to actually get that. So if you haven't got the alert yet, keep working through your alerts, because I have not. And I think I have to get Kaizen before it shows up.
And I would hope that if you don't get it this time round, that it would still be available next time they do.
Oh, absolutely. My impression is it's just tied to the Rakul event, and as we know, that is going to be back on a regular basis now.
Cool.
Yep, that's it.
Alright, 7th tip is from Berenger of Jedi Covenant. As a recent returnee to SWTOR, I was looking to maximize leveling time under the new system of only needing class story quests and main planetary quests to completely level a new character. I might also help those new to the game. It finally dawned on me that those 2 quest lines run pretty much in parallel. This is very likely obvious to long-time players, but being a bit slow, it took me a few planets to realize how best to utilize it. So to save time and level as quickly as possible, while still seeing all of the story content, once either the class quest line or the planetary quest line sends you to a completely new area, usually involving a speeder trip, go work on the other quest line until it also sends you to the new area. This way, you work both quest lines at the same time. I haven't verified all the planets on both factions, but so far leveling a few characters through various levels, it seems to hold true.
And that is absolutely true. If you go to pretty much any planet, it is a linear progression through a series of areas, with usually the level range of the mobs in each area will slowly, steadily increase. Not by much, usually level about 5 levels between them ish per planet. But that is exactly the way to do it, because you will be sent. And if you haven't been sent to the new location by 1, just wait and you'll eventually progress all the way through. So another good tip. Alright, next one is from Gree the Trooper of... from Gru the Trooper of Jedi Covenant. Even during the time I was unsubbed from the game, I think I cut something out from the front there. Let me just fix it. My tip is really more of a reminder. I'm a casual player, love the storylines, and sometimes do flashpoints, but do not do operations. So as a reminder/tip to all you casual players out there, it is easy to forget all of the skills and abilities you have at your disposal. I'm a level 65 trooper in tank spec, or tank discipline, and was trying to solo the heroic 2+ Alderaan Star Fortress, but was having trouble with the reactor stabilizer arrays. I didn't have enough DPS to burn all the adds and knights down before hitting the array console, so I was trying to hit the array as soon as it was clickable, but kept getting interrupted and or grappled back to one of the knights. After several tries and lots of curses, I happened to glance down at my action bar and noticed an icon I never use. It's called Hold the Line, and it makes you immune from movement impairing effects for 8 seconds. The last time I used this ability was probably 3 years ago in a hutball match, so after a dull moment, I used the skill, cruised through the arrays, and was able to finish the flashpoint. So if you casual gamers, or those just returned to the game, don't forget all of the tools you have at your disposal. You may not use them very often, but it can save you a lot of time and glances of disapproval from your spouse for all the cuss words. Now there's an excellent tip.
Indeed. All right. 9th is from Fatal Spark of the Jedi Covenant server. A quick tip just in time for the Rakghoul event on Alderaan. After picking up the quest from the fleet, go to the heroic mission terminal on the fleet and use the quick travel button to get to the planet directly without flying your ship there. Also, don't click reset on the Dr. Loken mission if it bugs out on the last step. Try logging out and in again first, lest you lose all the affection points with him, which you can read on the forums.
Alright, and maybe switching instances as well, based on Tiadra's tip from earlier.
Right.
So it sounds like the whole Dr. Loken thing is not working as intended. Alright, a 10th tip from Scott Thomas. If collecting the parts during the heroic on Nar Shaddaa is bugging out, reset the mission and turn off area loot. The heroic terminal on fleet works well as a quick travel option if you need to get somewhere, say Alderaan, fast. Now that is another piece of excellent advice. We now have the terminal on the fleet, which has all the heroics on all the planets, and every single one of those heroics has a quick travel option that will take you right there. So if there's a particular location you want to get to, there's probably a heroic in its general vicinity, and failing that, it will get you to the planet, and then you can use regular quick travel. Remember, there is no quick way to get to a lot of those planets, such as Alderaan, without going in your starship. Now, just pick up the heroic mission, travel to, and you're there.
All right, and finally the 11th tip, Mimic, Utini Jedi Knight. Very nice. If you're power leveling at the moment, flashpoints are the way to go. At all levels, I'm getting 1.5 to 2 levels per flashpoint without any bonuses through Legacy or XP boost. With class quests making planetary quests irrelevant, level 47, and I'm only just at the end of Chapter 1.
Yeah, that's a bit unfortunate, but I don't know. Maybe, again, that issue that we talked about earlier, it seems to be getting far too much experience if you're in a group. And I can't imagine that's intended. Yeah, that would make getting through leveling via flashpoints a little too easy. But
right.
wow,
Hand,
1.5 to 2 levels per flashpoint?
Right. What you could do is just not do quite so many flashpoints and just skip the planetaries, but that way keep your class missions relevant. Because I know I wouldn't want to go back and do them when they're all gray and all that stuff. So, well, technically it won't be gray anymore, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, I do. Oh, Snave just mentioned a 1v1 tournament. Snave, I will cover that in community. Someone remind me if I forget about it. Fox. Was that it? Yep.
It was. That was the 11th tip. And by a random allotment, the winner is Berenger of Jedi Covenant. Congratulations, Berenger. You're the winner of an Tonfon or M83R droid pet code, courtesy of BioWare, and an OotiniCast provided cartel market pack from the latest shipment. And if you'd like a chance to win the same, please send your tips to OotiniCast@gmail.com by next Tuesday. And that will bring us to the Hollow feed. Tio?
Oh my god, there was so little news this week. It was... We thought it was bad before, but geez, I guess there's, I don't know, nothing to say here. They're actually probably getting ready to play Battlefield, which is coming out on November something. Is it 19th? 18th? 17th? November something.
Like
Mid-September. Mid-November. Coming out in mid-November. Alright. So, pretty much all of the dev posts this week were around the same thing, which I have rather unfortunately named Insta60Gate.
Okay.
Anyway, so we talked last week about a problem where you use your start at 60 token, you delete the character before you reach level 61, and then the token is supposed to be refunded, and that wasn't happening. Or you step through you use your Insta60 token, you step through things a little too quickly, and you end up with a level 1 stuck on the fleet. So that was bad, and they said, well, the workaround is just to go slow. Just don't click spacebar quite so fast through everything. Just enjoy that sacrifice trailer. And then just after that, after we finished recording the show, they said that, well, yeah, not so much. It really is buggered. So people can get caught out. So there was a long series of posts, and I actually inserted a little audio after the fact into last week's podcast to warn people. They basically said, stop using your Insta60 tokens. We're going to take them off the cartel market. If you've already got one, including the one that all subscribers get when they start Coffee, don't use them. Just stop. However, that was only for a few days. They then posted that they had fixed it. All is once again well. But then maybe, and if you were in you were in the state where you've been caught out, you were missing your token or whatever, and they were basically saying, just wait, we will get it fixed, stop putting in tickets into customer service, it's all okay. They did eventually run a script to fix them all, and so at this point they say everyone should pretty much have their Insta60 token restored if you had lost it through this process. And I think they said people were still having problems if they were aggressively deleting their level 1, as in really quickly. But all of that at this point should be sorted out. And probably contact customer support if you really think you shouldn't have. However, if you deleted your Insta60 after level 61, you will not get a refund.
Right,
so
because you're not supposed to.
Exactly. The whole point here, and this has been abused terribly, but as long as you delete the character before level 61, you will get the token refunded. You can do it all over again. People using this as a way of getting all those Binder Legacy class sets. So some of them, I don't know why you bother, but whatever.
Right.
But yes, once you're past level 61, your token is no longer refundable.
And
so yeah, that's...
Now they've run the script and so on, but have they actually fixed the underlying issue?
Yes.
Or is it still going to happen? They have
It
fixed
sounds like it is well and truly fixed. So not only have they restored the tokens, they have actually fixed the underlying bug. So the Insta60 token should be back on the cartel market, and if you've got it, you can safely use it. I've still got mine. I'm still not sure what I'm going to do with it. I guess I'll use it eventually. Just reading chat. I really shouldn't. Now, all the dev posts with this long chain about this, but there was one other one that just mentioned a problem with Nightmare Loot. Now, the way it's supposed to work is if each week there is a particular hard mode that is the highlighted one, and that one you get the extra level of gear. So normally you would get 220, item rating 220 gear out of hard modes. And if it's the particular hard one that week, the highlighted one, you will get 224 gear out of that hard mode. Now all the nightmare modes, where there are nightmare modes, they were supposed to always drop 224, the same as the highlighted hard mode, as was documented in the original post. However, that doesn't happen. At the moment, the nightmare modes are only dropping hard mode loot, the same as hard mode. But of course you also get the chance of the extra mounts and whatever else from nightmare mode. So I believe the difficulty is equivalent. They've just got the extra mechanics. So nightmare mode isn't actually harder than hard mode. It's just got the extra stuff that you have to deal with. But yeah, you're not going to get the 224 gear out of that yet, and that is a known bug that the team is looking at.
All right.
Yeah, okay, so that's pretty much news, but we do have a few other things to look at. Sweaterista, who was on the show last week, sweaterista.com, sweaterstrongholds.com. She had an interview with Charles Boyd. Actually, it was a series of questions, it looks like, that she posed to them, and Charles Boyd did respond. Now, there was one which is a blatant spoiler for Kotfi, which we will not cover. There was another one that talked about Valkorian's personality, and again, can't really talk about that without spoiling the story, so we'll avoid that too. But I'll link to it if you've already done the story, and it's no spoilers if you've actually gone through to chapter 9. But just in case anyone isn't through it yet. Sweaterista asked what were some of the inspirations and deliberate design choices for Valkorian and his kids, Valen, Arkan and Thexan, and Charles Boyd responded, the designs for these characters serve several goals. They demonstrate the power and opulence of the Zakul Empire, of the Eternal Empire, which set it apart from the Republic and Sith in clear ways. And if you look at all the stuff, it is kind of glitzy. And also, the costuming contains lots of elements of ancient Zakulan culture. The goal there was to show that Zakul is a long-standing civilization with its own past and traditions. And finally, it does a good job of not being inherently good or evil. The details and use of colour often subvert expectations in interesting ways. Yeah, like the whole black and white with Thexan and Arkan being the reverse to what you would expect. Given that Thexan was kind of the nice guy, apparently, and Arkan wasn't in any sense. And Sweaterista included some screenshots showing the symbolism, which alludes to Zakul's ancient mythology, and specifically towards the dragon Zildrog. Now, Sweaterista also included in her article the codex entry for the Heralds of Zildrog. Stories of the dragon Zildrog predate Isaac's pantheon. In the earliest legend, Zildrog was a guiding mentor who tested the strength of a warrior's spirit. A fallen warrior would be consumed by the dragon, feeding its everlasting power. However, a victorious warrior was rewarded with the breath of the dragon. This boon imbued a soul with burning fire, lighting the way to a fortuitous future. During the height of the old ways, Zildrog was one of Isaac's many forms, a terrible beast that brought only death. Which, if you look into that a little deeper, and the underlying story, there's some odd parallels there. So they're obviously going for something there.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe we'll talk about that more during our next spoiler cast, in which we cover the Kotfi story to date.
Right.
Now, also a few other questions from Sweaterista. She asked, how far-reaching will players' choices be? Will the choice made in Chapter 5 affect Chapter 13? And while he can't give specific examples, yes, the intention is the choices you make throughout the story, like it's anywhere in the first 9 chapters, will affect things later on. So they're really playing for the long term here. They want your choices to really matter, and we've sort of joked about that. So we haven't really seen the consequences of it. The Neil thing is a good example of that. But maybe there will be some consequences.
Yeah, like in the GGC, we were talking about how we're hoping that we see more of this because we really haven't seen choices mattering yet too much.
Correct.
But we do see in all these conversations where the companions are remembering, they take note of your action, they approve, they disapprove, and you always see those little pop-up messages in the lower left. And we're hoping that means that they will be able to find ways to make choices matter more later on. So we'll see. Yeah. Alright, now next, they asked about companions that were lost. Will they all come back? Because as you know, we've got the 40-ish companions that have gone missing, and some of them we know are being able to be returned to us, but a bunch haven't. Dr. Loken obviously has just turned up with the Rakul event, but there's still quite a few out there, and they asked whether they're all going to come back. And what Charles said is, it's definitely our goal to bring them back over time, especially the romanceable ones. But ultimately, they're just going to do what's best for the story. So if it doesn't fit, they're not going to do it. They're not just going to bring them back for the hell of it. So, however, in the meantime, for your character's own companions, we do have the Companion Locator Terminal,
which we've talked about previously. It's a thing that looks like a galaxy map in that instanced area on Odessen. And yeah, again, it's kind of hard to... You won't notice it, but it's there. Look for the thing that looks like a galaxy map, and you can get your companions back. You'll be asked a bunch of questions to be sure you mean it, but that is the way to get them. They will turn up in the story later, maybe eventually, but in the meantime, you can still have them in a sort of non-story sense.
Yeah. On the GGC, they mentioned that there seemed to be some companions that you couldn't get back that way, and they were speculating why that would be. Presumably, either they were coming very soon in the storyline, or maybe they had no plans. We're not.
That makes sense.
To say.
Yeah. More likely the first, that they are about to come back, or they are available now if you just go through the steps. I noticed on my Guardian I only had access to 3 of the 5, which is interesting.
Did you actually grab any of them, or did you leave them all?
No. Oh, I'm happy to wait for the story. As we know, one companion is pretty much the same as another. Though I did see an interesting post on Reddit that implied that some companions, in terms of DPS output, are substantially different. So even though they're supposed to all be equivalent, their stats are based on your stats, there was still some variation. I have not tested that personally. So
they're certainly supposed to be the same. So yeah. I wonder how the easiest way to test that would be, because you can't go to your ship and use the test dummies. That's for damn sure.
Exactly right. I guess you could use the dummy on the fleet though.
Yeah, where is that? Do they still have that?
Yeah, it's still there. Yeah, it's over on...
Okay.
Well, that's the one we used before. We got the ones on our personal starship. It's over on the same ship that the operations are on. Or it's the other one. The one without anything interesting on it. I can't remember. I haven't actually... Because we got the ones in our starship. I unlocked them both ages ago. Never worried about it after that. Okay. And finally, Sweaterista asked about the state of the Jedi. And... apparently the state of the Jedi is going to play into the story going on, so he didn't go into details. So suffice it to say, they suffered badly in the war against the Eternal Empire, against the Zakul, and it's going to take some work to get them back to the place they were in before Arkhan's invasion. So, fun times ahead. And that's it. I will link, of course, to Sweaterista's post, so you can read his responses in detail. So thank you for putting that out there, Sweaterista. She didn't give us a hint that this was a thing when she was on last week. Anyway, all right. Now, I've had this interview with James Olin that it was done by a guy from PC Power Play back on 7 September. So James Olin, obviously one of the co-founders, and he's a game director on Star Wars The Old Republic. So he's been in it for the long haul, right from the beginning. They asked him a bunch of questions, a lot of which isn't really that interesting, but we already know the answers now.
Right.
But it was asked... What I do find interesting, though, this is the question, you may have heard this... Dealing with technology in space as thousands of years before what we used to in the original trilogy. Is there any urge, or do you feel the need to make it less advanced than what we've seen in the movies? Because you can still see lightsabers, you still see blasters, you still see space travel. So the question is, in Old Republic, why didn't they make it look older? And the answer was, back when they were developing Knights of the Old Republic, KOTOR, we actually had the comic books, the Dark Horse comic books called Knights of the Old Republic, and they were based back then. We felt that they told some good stories, but they had some of those elements of those comics that didn't translate well to a cinematic Star Wars universe. Having starships with sails and stuff like that, those comics sound crazy. It didn't feel like Star Wars. We felt with Knights of the Old Republic that we really had to give players that Star Wars galaxy that made them feel like they were in the movies, even though it was thousands of years ago. Because Star Wars is science fantasy, essentially, it's science fiction plus fantasy. And you know how, in fantasy, technology never changes, because magic. So, in other words, in Star Wars, The Old Republic, etc., it's all pretty much the same technology. And this may seem strange, I think we've talked about this before, but in a particularly advanced civilization where you have effectively free power, where you have faster than light travel, and instantaneous, and just generally able to get around pretty easily, and you've got weapons which are kind of effective, what kind of advances are you going to really get? Will technology really accelerate at the pace we're used to in our current era? And we're only seeing that advance because we're going from a certain level to another level. Once we're really at the high level, in theory, technological advance will actually slow down. But then again, it's just fantasy and Star Wars, so it really doesn't matter. You don't need to explain it.
Yeah.
It's just the way it is.
And yeah, exactly. And frankly, the whole ships with sails and stuff in the comic books, you know, a lot of those old Star Wars comic books, they read like fever dreams, man. They are just crazy. They are absolutely nuts. And if I was Disney, I'd be like dropping them as canon right away. And also, I think it's been a while, but I believe that they actually tried early on in the development of the game, they tried playing around with like making things look a lot older, you know, sort of like whether that meant steampunk or just something very, very different. And they found that it took away from the feel because it didn't feel like a Star Wars game anymore.
Right.
So that's why they reverted it. Now it's distinct, but it's a lot closer to the regular Star Wars movies than it was going to be.
One thing you can mention is droids do tend to be a little more clunky than the ones that we see in the modern era, so to speak.
Right.
They're like old versions of protocol droids rather than the versions like C-3PO, etc.
Yep.
So they've done a little bit, but as you say, for the most part it just looks silly if they get carried away. So another question was, so those non-binary choices that you mentioned, are they flagged? I noticed during the demo that there was an obvious good or dark side indicator next to the choices. Are there other ones that are a bit more nuanced, so that you might not know that something has a consequence a bit later on? And James Olin responded, other choices where, well, it's Star Wars, and it is about the struggle between light and dark, good and evil. So I think we do have decisions where, yes, you won't really know what the consequences will be until later on, so it might surprise you. It will surprise you in some ways, which is basically elaborating what Charles Boyd said as well. The absolute intention, apparently what they're doing is making sure the choices you make may not matter immediately, but down the road, and that whole Neil thing, maybe there is going to be a consequence to that, but not just immediately, and that's kind of cool if it does actually have a long-term effect. Anyway, I'll link to the interview. There's other stuff in there, but nothing really that pertinent to where we are right now. Anyway, yeah, that's the news. Not a lot, is there? I really had to dig for some of that. So let's move on to the community. Now, we have someone, Dorji Vadra. You may remember we've previously mentioned that the open source spreadsheet collection that he created, as in using Google spreadsheets, he created a bunch of information for SWTOR, and it has all been, or is in the process of being updated for Game Update 4.0 for Coffee. He went through a process of deciding on a new name. He put the question out there on Reddit. There was some discussion about it, but the name, it is what they settled on. It's formally known as the SWTOR Open Source Community Spreadsheet Collection, and the short name is the SWTOR CGR, SWTOR Community Guides and Resources, which is an open source community spreadsheet collection for and by the players of SWTOR. So they changed the name to give it a friendly feel, as well as to help more people find it in a typical search for guides, basically if you're using Google. And SWTOR CGR was added to the end to hopefully be an easy way to direct people to the sheets without a link. So SWTOR CGR. And I have added it to our sidebar on OotiniCast.com. So, yep, if you want to get to it quickly, and there are a bunch of them, he links to a single meta sheet which has links to all of the other sheets. It's a community project where anyone can come to get and share links to the many guides and resources out there. So it's not supporting a particular site, we'll link to everything basically. There are so many great guides that get undiscovered because they get buried in forums or tons of tabs. So their purpose is to provide one location where people can quickly and easily find information from different locations in one centralized place, rather than going to like Tor Community only or Dolphy only. I know SWTOR Network was certainly trying to do this as well, but this is another collection. And there's a guide and source link page separated by categories such as spreadsheets, sources, miscellaneous, class, companions, crew skills, etc. So plenty of good stuff there. 2 sheets he wanted to mention was the companion gift likes table 4.0. Easy and quick reference for gift likes for all companions currently available. That's great. So thank you. I was wondering how I would actually look that up. I knew someone would have it, but there you go. An easy place to go. Companions also have hyperlinks to information about them in talkcommunity.com and the new jedipedia.net, which we mentioned a couple of weeks ago. And the other guide, or the other sheet he wanted to mention, was Crew Skill Materials List in the table version for 4.0, which is a table of materials used in crafting separated by the crew skills they are received from, vendor and soon crafted materials. Each crew skill has hyperlinks to talkcommunity.com showing up-to-date info on what materials each of those crew skills have. Each material has hyperlinks to talkcommunity. He just repeated himself. There is also a used for column that shows what craft skills use that material. So again, just massive resource of stuff.
Yeah, this is excellent stuff.
He's got a Google 101 page that shows you how to add stuff to it. If you want, the collection was open for full edit by anyone, but due to numerous accidental breaks to the pages, he has protected them. People can still add information in the blank cells below the protected information, and then he'll incorporate them. So he's locked the parts that are good, add to it as you wish, and then he will check it's okay, and then
they'll add it themselves.
And looks like he's got some volunteer collaborators / moderators to help him do that. Again, any discrepancies are obviously protected, so just leave a comment to let them know. So yeah, fantastic set of resources. Thank you, Dorji Vadra, for making this happen, and for everyone who is contributing. Very cool. Now, I should mention that our old friend Snave is having another 1v1 tournament. Let's see, it's number 4.
Wow.
Taker Life Day celebration. This is happening on Saturday, the 5th of December at 7 PM GMT, which is British time for our English friend Snave. To help you enjoy this year's Life Day celebration in Star Wars, the Ultimate Reg Star Championship is back to help bring you an evening of stabbing, shooting, and even more stabbing. We're not talking Silent Night, we're bringing the Violent Night. We're not going to say ho ho ho, we'll be bringing you the action blow by blow. Santa has been very generous this year, and we're looking at the greatest prize pool ever seen. Players from all servers are welcome to sign up, and hopefully this time they'll all manage to show up too. Had a few no-shows, it seems like. At the last one, they saw Mosh take first place, and Operatives were cemented as the best duel in class. We're back now with 4.0 being released, and I'm looking forward to seeing how the new abilities and changes have changed things. If you missed any of the previous events, he's got the links in this post. And due to the new level sync, and to avoid any Life Day Grinches, this and future tournaments will be held within a stronghold. We'll be using the Nar Shaddaa stronghold again for this event. Same as the previous 2 events, stealth and non-stealth classes being separated out of in the initial brackets, and then the champions from each facing off in the finals. Once again, Snave will be joined by his glamorous and ridiculously handsome co-host Nexi, who will help commentate the event. And to make the tournament even more interactive, they'll be hosting a Discord room for those watching to be able to discuss the action as it unfolds and to get the opinions of the viewers on who they think will take the win. 32 spots available. So I'll link to the post. It has all of the details. Saturday, 5 December 2015 at 7 PM GMT. And he's got a whole lot of prizes. He said he's got like $200 worth. A whole lot of stuff to give away.
Very nice. Detailed
rules, of course, and there's a video. And yeah, that should be kind of awesome
that will be fun,
as we remember from previously. So very nice, Snave. Very nice.
And Tio, I think everyone in the chat is wondering what the air quotes was around friend.
Well, Snave is. Yeah, now I'm just responding to his various commentary. Something about New Zealanders. I don't know.
Okay.
He apparently met an Aussie who used some Aussie insults, and, well, I reckon he was just bullshitting to him, but whatever. It's easy to fool the English. All right.
Okay.
Finally, in community, we have something from our good friend and guildmate Decion, Utini Knights and Utini Rage, one of our deck officers. And this is rather long, but he spent a bit of time on it, so I should have got some water. I should be right. He begins. A long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, some of our guildmates represented Utini Knights and Rage by participating in the Extra Life events hosted by the Unholy Alliance and the Wookiee Mistake Guilds last Saturday. Here's what happened. Now, you may remember we did give them a plug a couple of weeks ago about their event, which they were holding. Anyway, the day began with Volk hosting the event on his Twitch feed during the morning. The events he covered were the Parade of Homes, Leveling Race, and a Tauntaun Hunt on Hoth to get the mount or the Gauntlet pet. The Parade of Homes was a tour of some of Unholy Alliance and Wookiee Mistake's most decorated strongholds. The owner of each stronghold was able to give a full tour and include their favourite part and even let go of some of their decorating secrets. Fiona and I joined the fun for the levelling contest, or should I say, the Levelling as Must-Go contest. The rules were simple. The first person at level 12 from a newly created alt that had to look like Eric Musco. About 30 to 40 players participated across all classes, but mostly Jedi. I'm sure some of the players just starting out on Tython were wondering why there were so many players in the same guild. Musco's Mistake, looking exactly alike and all named with a form of the word Musco. It was terrific fun.
Funny.
Yeah, unfortunately I was only a level 9 when Redner declared he had indeed hit level 12. Eric Musco was informed about this prior to the event. We were wondering which one he was playing. I'll include the pictures that Decion took, including a picture of Fiona as Musco. Muscofi Glorificus. Very nice. And Decion Sco with Muscofi Glorificus. Very nice.
Funny.
Very nice. The next event was a Tauntaun Hunt on Hoth. Groups of players either set out with Tauntaun lures in hand in hope of getting enough Tauntaun domestication certificates to receive a Tauntaun mount, and others found all of the Scrabbler jerky and headed off to get the Tauntlet pet. At this point of the day, Volk signed off and handed his Twitch stream over to Redner, who continued with the rest of the day's events with a 24-hour SWOTOR streaming marathon for Extra Life. The events he covered were PvP Madness, SWOTOR Family Feud, and a dance party on Nar Shaddaa. We all met at the Outlaws' Den on Tatooine for a little PvP fun, until some players that were watching the stream wanted a few minutes of fame to showcase their obvious mastery at PvP. At that point, we all picked it up and headed to a Tatooine stronghold for some dueling. This reminded me a little of a grade school dance. At first, we all just gathered in groups, showing off emotes, and then finally that one brave person initiated a duel. After that, it was go time. Everyone was dueling everyone, which turned into everyone dueling someone's influence level 50 Lana, which apparently is quite deadly. One of the most epic battles ever dueled was between Fiona and their guildmaster Anjo. It was an epic 10-minute battle, healer against healer. Finally, Fiona emerged victorious. Well done, Fee. After PvP/dueling/showing off emotes, we adjourned outside under the twin suns of Tatooine for a round of SWOTOR Family Feud. Pubs versus imps. It was set up just like the old game show where questions were asked and we had to come up with the most average answers. In the end, the pubs won. Well done,
the
Republic.
pubs. Yes, the most average. Congratulations.
After a short break, we all travelled to Nar Shaddaa for some well-earned relaxation in the form of a dance party on the lower promenade next to the Hutt statue. DJ Lovechild and Lady Vendetta from Radio Free on the Ebon Hawk paid a special visit and hosted the event. Since this is for a charity event, a temporary truce was formed between the Republic and the Empire, so all were welcome. Utini was well represented with Decion, Fiona, DJ Red, Gahana, Atahoiwas, and Vodor, all showing their sweet dance moves and running to the nearest GTN to buy more. By the end of the day, we were tired, but we knew it was for a great cause. Extra Life is a charity organisation that donates to the Children's Miracle Network of Hospitals. A few times a year, they organise a pledge drive weekend for the gaming community. With some help from the SWOTOR community, Unholy Alliance, and Wookiee Mistake were able to organise a pretty large event, and so far have raised over $4,700 over the weekend. This will be giving away some pretty awesome prizes like a Sphero BB-8 and a special 31 flavours cartel pack. This contains one of every pack released. To qualify for the
Wow.
raffle, you must donate at least $20 to their team by November 14th. Here's a link for some more information, which is on holyalliance.org/extralife. It was really awesome to see the tremendous support the SWTOR community gave for this worthy cause, and as an added bonus, I made some new friends along the way and had a terrific day playing SWTOR. May the force be with you, Dekion. Thank you, mate,
Wow.
for writing that up. That was excellent.
Epic.
And
Yeah,
fun time was had by all.
that sounds like a blast, yeah.
And
Holy
also
mackerel.
link to radio-free.org. Thanks, V, for those guys from the Ebon Hawk, DJ Lovechild and Lady Vendetta.
And Blacklock SWTOR is referencing the video Dance Like Musco as a funny video. I might have to look that up.
Yeah, actually, Ari was playing it earlier. It's rather good. So that was
I
by
will look
Jessie of Unholy Alliance. I believe she put it together. And that's the news.
Okay. That'll bring us to the forced feedback, where we read out your tweets and emails. In chat room, if you have any questions to ask, we'll be gathering them now to answer once we're done with the feedback. Joseph Brown wrote, I use my 60 token and... Okay, I used my 60 token and the dailies were there on Yavin, even though she did not run the story.
Thank you, Joseph. And I should give a special thanks to Joseph, who is always retweeting our OotiniCast tweets. Thank you, mate. And thank you for checking this. That answers that, which we were discussing on the previous show.
Yeah, that's good to know, actually. It's kind of nice, because, I mean, otherwise it's like there is one more reason to actually do the story, you know,
Exactly.
as opposed to skipping it. Blacklock wrote before copy was released, someone said all the ads will be green, and I disagreed, and I was right. And then it shows 65 Blacklock being level sync down to 12, and all the way up to level 6 it's gray, and then level 7 it is green. And that is true. Actually, it was me. I wasn't saying they'd be green, but I suggested they might be, and I thought it would be funny if they were green, if they remained green, that someone could actually like level from 1 to 65 by staying in the core slug area and just killing core slugs 1 to 65. Which I still think would be pretty hilarious, but apparently they do gray out. So thank you, Blacklock.
Indeed. Though, it's probably worth noting that is probably only on the starter world, whereas there's a rather large level range. On the planets where it's only 4 or 5 levels, that is not going to be the case.
Yeah, there might be occasional grays if you... Yeah, of like 1 level in certain areas, but for the most part, yeah, everything else is going to be green. Blacklock does mention that level sync doesn't make ads green, it just brings you to within 5 levels of the ads on the planet, apart from the starter ones. So yeah.
Now, hang on. Snave was just suggesting that he interview us just by asking his questions in the chat. So what I think he should do is actually organise a proper interview, as in properly record it, and then he can ask us all the hard questions.
Sure.
What do you think, Chell? We'll do that at some point.
Sounds good.
All right, we'll do that. Do you want to interview us together or individually, Snave?
It sounded like you wanted to do it together, but it's all good.
Oh, either way. Well,
Do you want me to continue?
yes, please.
Darren DePaul, who is the voice of Valkorion. Yes, everyone's favorite immortal emperor. He wrote, Hey, OotiniCast, thank you for the mention in the latest episode between you and Unholy Alliances. I'm learning a lot about the community. Thank you, Darren.
So,
Yeah.
thank you. Truly an honor.
Yeah, loving that voice. Good stuff. And yeah, and it was really funny when the conversation started the other week, based on the SWTOR meme contest.
Yes.
Which is still going on, by the way.
We should mention that. Should I? Is this a good place since it's come up? Yeah, why
Sure.
not? Let me find the right window.
I did 1 or 2 since the last episode, but I'll let
You
people
did.
Look it up if they want to.
Now, the clear winner this week for week 2 was from Vladimir of the Old Republic Dads Guild on the Shadowlands, one of Nipthon's guys.
And
And-
which one was that?
He tweeted a picture, or the image was Valkorion facing off against the Jedi Knight in Chapter 1,
Okay.
and the caption was, Hey, I just met you, and this is crazy, but kneel before me, and join me maybe. You'll know the song, obviously, where that's from.
Yeah.
A little too overdone, but yeah, that got 41
that one.
likes, so
Very nice.
Yeah, very, very clearly the winner. Now, we did have a couple more. Yours actually got 19 likes, which I think was pretty much the second one. There was one from Evan, which
again,
will...
Yeah, I am not eligible. I'm just doing it for fun.
I believe the second place goes to FCOM. We had a picture of a rather odd-looking character who I don't recognise. Excuse me, Outlander. Do you have a moment to talk about our Lord and Saviour Zildrog? Was the caption.
Nice. Yeah, I remember that one too.
Yep. There was one which is funny, which we'll cover in the feedback later on.
Okay.
And then finally, the one from Ari. Where is it? Because I got the next most. As given that she came up with the contest, she is not eligible either. And Swotor has her own meme goal, so a fitting meme for Valen, it's a picture of Valen with a grumpy face, is being a bitch a carb. Now you have to have seen the movie to actually get that reference.
Yes.
But, yes. Excellent. That got 18 likes. So, however, the second place goes to... what's his name? FCOM. So, Vladimir and FCOM, well done, guys. So, yeah.
Excellent.
The meme contest rolls on, and there's a whole lot of entries from Born to Eat Bacon just recently. So,
oh, good. I'll have to look up those. I missed those. All right.
Oh, hang on.
Sir?
Oh, we have a late alteration. Blacklock mentions that, and we'll have to have a third place. So you slip into second place, sir, with yours. That wasn't from last week? That's where it was Archon. There was two pictures, Arkan and the Emperor. The top picture was Arkan saying, "The Phantom of the Opera is there inside your mind," and no, I'm not going to sing that. And Valkorian thinking to himself, "I should never have got in that album." So yeah, they got 33. So well done, mate.
That was pretty funny because, of course, Arkan has the partial face mask thing going on.
Yes.
Very nice.
Yes.
Very clever.
All right.
All right. JB wrote, hashtag Swotor ad on Metacritic. I've seen a few around the web in the last couple of weeks. And let's see.
He included a picture of the ad.
Yeah. There we go.
Save with the Outlander pack, only on Origin.
Very nice, I guess.
Yeah, I guess.
I don't know what the Outlander...
No, I don't know.
Yeah.
Clearly it has all the unlocks, which you just subscribe and you get them as well, and I assume it's got the extra cartel coins and maybe some game time.
Probably.
That they're selling on Amazon or some variant of that. But yes, it is good to see ads, Google ads turning up all over the place. So for Swotor, so they've paid out some of their marketing money and they're not entirely waiting on the Star Wars franchise to do all the heavy lifting. That's good.
Yep. All right. Casmus wrote, is it just me, or since coffee have they added flames to all the speeders' exhaust ports now? I know some had them before, but all of them seem to now.
I didn't notice anything new. Like my speeders, where they had the flamey effect, they had that before coffee, so I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of the times the flames only show up when you move forward. Maybe that's,
Could be.
Yeah, maybe that's it. I don't know.
They seem to have added a few little graphical bits and bobs all over the place, like those flapping sails and Tatooine.
Yeah, I mean, they're slowly, just adding little details here and there. And of course, there's the nice flares when you have for certain of the speeders. It's always good. Let's see. Oh, and I did get like my first speeder that actually has a flare. I can't remember what it's called. It has a really funky name.
Right.
Yeah, it has like this arm that sticks out from the side when you when you flare it. It just kind of rolls up a little bit. Yeah, it's not a big deal, but it's nice. It's like,
better than nothing.
I've got one now.
Yeah.
And I see, of course, every once in a while, because I am using the random mount. JJ wrote, story mode. I took my level 55 Marauder with, some sort of armor, maybe 132. I forgot I didn't have any relics. Recommended 208 is not necessary. Apparently that it is not an issue if you're being leveled up automatically.
Yeah, no, the bolster is good. It works really well.
Yep. Adam wrote, regarding the flappy Tatooine flaps, they were not flappy, on the PTS at least.
There you go. Must be something that was added in
Isn't it?
coffee. I was wondering if I'd losing my mind, but apparently not. This time.
Very nice. Grew the Trooper from Jedi Covenant wrote, just sent in a tip, so I thought I'd send my thoughts on the new expansion as well. As a player who doesn't do operations, rarely does flashpoints, and probably wouldn't do PvP if he paid me, I love this expansion. The story is excellent, there's plenty to do, and it leaves you wanting more. If it weren't for the fact that I have to be up at 5:30 a.m. every day, I probably would have played through all 9 chapters in one sitting. It sucked me in that much. I love the fact that I'm interacting with companions from other classes. That's a nice point. And the alliance building after Chapter 9 feels less like grinding and more like I'm actually doing something for a reason and not just title or reward. That's exactly how I felt. I especially like the fact that Empire and Republic lines have been blurred, and you're not really sure who's telling the truth or trying to play you for a sucker. I have all 8 classes to 60, but I did not do Ziost on all of them. However, this expansion I may go all the way through with all 8 just to see how many different directions I can take it.
Cool. Yeah, I'm in two minds about the blurring of the lines between the Empire and the Republic. How we're all sort of working together in our alliance to try and get things back. What happens in the future? Where does the story go? We've got obviously the Eternal Empire out there being a big pain in the ass.
Yeah.
Yeah. Are we going to go back to Empire versus Republic? Hopefully.
It's hard to say, and it's even harder now that, so much of the canon was turned to legend. I mean, you could have said as recently as a few months ago that, well, we know from Bane that therefore, the Sith were still a thing, but they were separate from the Republic. There was no mention of another empire, blah, blah, blah. You could make all those arguments that sort of it had reverted to the Sith Empire versus the Republic.
Right.
But can you really say that now? I guess not. I mean,
no.
I don't know.
It's really...
I certainly hope the Bane story comes back as canon in some form, because it's like my favorite of the novels. But and I don't see why they would get rid of the Bane idea. Yeah. But until they do, you can't really. You can't. Yeah, but you can't. Right, rule of 2
is canon.
That's true.
So
that's kind of implies Bane, I guess, but it certainly does not imply that he, single-handedly, removed all the Sith from the galaxy except for the 2.
Though we are in a position in the current era where obviously that did happen. There's only the 2 Sith left, so something happened. So why not just leave it intact?
All right. Let's see. Gas Guy. Hey, Gas Guy wrote, "Hello, OotiniCast listeners and fellow Codex hunters. In a previous show, the dreaded words unintended consequences were uttered, and like Pavlov's mutt, I am compelled to respond with some news on the subject, which you will hear begins to border on a rant. Actually, it is a rant. Good thing I've calmed down in the last 2 weeks. Prior to the 4.0 expansion, when you accessed the Datacron, there were 4 things that could happen. 1. You absorb the power of the holocron, which provided a boost of one of your attributes: strength, aim, presence, or endurance. 2. If not at max experience, you would gain experience. 3. If you were not at max legacy, you would gain legacy points. And 4. It's called a Datacron for a reason. Thus you gain data, which is the information of the codex associated with that item. In the perceived rush to nerf the acquisition process for Datacron attributes has resulted some unintended consequences. Insert universal groan of dismay here. So now, come with me as my level 40 Sith Inquisitor named Bisbee travels to the lush green world of Alderaan prior to its rapid component disassembly. In pre-4.0, there were 5 Datacrons on Alderaan, all of which were accessible by either faction. Here's a list of the attributes for each, with a hint about its accessibility and location. Aim, it gave Codex Galactic History 43, and that's the one where you ride the island tram. Or, if you're like me, you just sneak up the backside of the island and it works just like 10 times faster. Endurance, Codex Galactic History 44, used the red detonite actuator in the caves. That's the one where you had to be a little higher level than normal for Alderaan. Presence, Codex Galactic History 45, you fly the Thranta, which was always... I always did that one, even though, presence wasn't all that, important to me, but I always thought it was kind of fun to find the Thranta and jump on it and use it like a taxi. Strength, Codex Galactic History 46, used the MGGS tool at the dam. That was always kind of fun, although, because it was out of the way, I only did that a couple times. Willpower, Codex Galactic History 47, Up the Stairs in Castle Pantier. And wasn't that the one where like you had to slip through that crack, and like if you were body type 4, you couldn't do it?
Yes.
For a while,
Yeah.
until
That's
they altered it. So yes, no fatties allowed for Galactic History 47 at launch, although you can do it now. Bisbee has not previously accessed any of these items, so now in 4.0, what does Bisbee see? Recall that to access your current Datacron collection status, you will open your legacy, and under the subcategory of Global Unlocks, you will click on Datacrons for a window, which then shows the name of the planets with the associated icons for each Datacron. Alderaan is alphabetically listed at the top and shows 5 icons, which are named like this: Blue Mastery, Endurance, Presence, Red Mastery, Purple Mastery. Because, of course, aim and so on have been replaced by mastery. Bisbee is elated to see that due to the hard work and forbearance of his legacy relations, he already has all the icons activated. But let us look further. The Endurance and Presence are presumed to be identical matches to their previous incarnations. That leaves 3 of questionable lineage. What is the Blue Mastery? Was that the aim, the strength, or the willpower? The same question applies to the Red Mastery and the Purple Mastery. How can we cross-match the old to the new? If Bisbee runs up to an existing Datacron, for example the one in Castle Pantier, and attempts to access the cube, he's told, "This Datacron is no longer accessible," and that's it. No other information is available. This makes sense from the aspect that the Legacy has already accessed the Datacron. It is no longer accessible, but it does not resolve which of the new Datacrons this location now represents. This was previously the Willpower Datacron, but now is it the red, the blue, or the purple which I am being denied access? We begin to see some of the unintended consequences. Okay, brand new players with brand new legacies will eventually fill in the missing old to new relationship. I guess we'll have to live with that slow dissemination of information. What really makes this whole thing about Datacron Legacy such a clusterfuck is that Bisbee does not get any of the 3 other prior benefits. Bisbee does not get any experience, Bisbee does not get any legacy, and he does not get a codex.
Huh.
So here's the rant. The previous was just the preamble. When somebody uses the term unintended consequence, this is a shorthand phrase for we were not smart enough to think out the ramifications of the change. Or they did and were willing to accept the lousy outcome and hope that the customers didn't catch on. BioWare has greatly diminished an enjoyable game mechanic of working to access these items and being rewarded with experience, legacy, and codex information, and have done so by rewarding those players who don't put in the effort and yet are rewarded with the attribute boost across other characters. This decision was lazy, bad game design, and it punishes those players who made an effort in the past. Pre-4.0, there were about 100 Datacrons to be accessed at approximately 3,000 experience points per codex location. That was a significant amount of effort and reward which has been slighted from the player base. I am not happy. Do you hear me, BioWare? You goofed this one up. Please fix it. Signed, a 4-year subscriber. Whew, yes, Gas Guy. Well, I didn't know that you can... I guess it makes sense.
It's a real shame. I assume the Datacrons would still be accessible, even though you couldn't actually get the benefit if it's already unlocked in your legacy.
Extra benefit, but yeah,
you can still get
apparently
the
just
codex
locks
unlocks.
It off. It'd be nice to get the codex unlocks if that's what you're interested in. So, does that mean, I guess, that unless you do all the Datacrons on like one main character, you just won't have a character that has all the codexes unlocked?
That is clearly the implication, yeah.
Yeah. That is kind of odd. Okay. I'm not sure what to think about that. Especially since I'm one of the lazy players who is perfectly happy not to have to do all the Datacrons over and over again. But I do like seeing the codexes.
Yeah.
And I like seeing the codexes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's suggested in chat that you can actually just do the correlation based on color, like red was strength, for example.
Yeah. I would assume that too. And aim was sort of whitish blue, so I guess that would be blue, and willpower is purple. So that's what I would guess.
Yeah.
I don't know why they would do it any other way, but you never know. I mean, it's true unless it's confirmed, and unless it's confirmed by someone starting a new legacy up. It's hard to say. All right, Star Wars humor, or perhaps humor in quotes. Keeb, or is it Kieb? I'm not sure. Keeb of the Ebon Hawk. Where do Sith shop? At the Darth Mall.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
What's Vader's favorite month? Imperial March. Okay.
I need to insert some rim shots.
Yes. What's a Jedi's favorite drink? Qui-Gon Jinn. Pause for applause and humor and laughter, right?
Yeah.
Stormtroopers fight in the rain because they missed the weather report.
Only
let's
fight in
see.
the rain. You
That's
missed the
right.
key part of that joke, Jill.
Only fight in the rain. Yeah, I don't know. I like the way I said it better. It was faster and
okay.
got us past it quicker. Everybody was parody of kung fu fighting. Everybody was dark side fighting. Those Cathar shot some lightning. Okay. And let's see. Ewoks are just homeless Care Bears who lost their.
This is from Tim.
Oh, sorry, you're right. This is the next one. Ewoks are just homeless Care Bears who lost their powers and got hooked on drugs. They do look vaguely similar.
I'll include these pictures in the show notes because they're actually kind of cool.
Let's see. Droid Baby. The Death Star saying, "Are you sure we should do this? I mean, you're a rebel droid. I'm an Imperial Death Star. Oh, what the hell? How would anyone ever know? Stick it right in my data port." And then there's a picture of BB-8.
Oh, you should mention R2D2.
Oh, sorry. Well, okay. I think everyone kind of got the implication, but yes. So R2D2 and the Death Star apparently have made BB-8. That's pretty funny.
Yeah. And if you look at BB-8, well,
You can see the similarities, yeah. All right, and Grizzly of Begarin Colony. May the mass times acceleration be with you.
now that's an old joke in an old shirt, but he's put a nice image behind it, so it's pretty cool. And mass times acceleration is indeed force, in case you're wondering.
The old physics joke. Let's see, and then it's Luke and Vader, and Vader says, "How did Han Solo cross the road on Endor? I don't know how. He walked." No.
And they're using the scene from Empire Strikes Back just after Vader's cut off Luke's hand, and Luke is clinging to the. Yeah, that's why he let go. That terrible, terrible joke. Star Wars humor. You never fail to disappoint.
All right. So, do we have any questions from the chat?
We do have a clarification that Jihana is how we pronounce Gahan as what I was pronouncing as Gahana. It's Jihana. So remember that for next week, Joel. Jihana. Jihana.
Jihana.
But aside from that, I didn't see any questions. There were some links to the Extra Life from Fee, from Jesse's and Fees and Dex. Space Hitler. I'm sure Snave will ask us about that when he talks to us directly. Behind the scenes, OotiniCast. Yeah, I'm scared.
Miner was pointing out regarding Gas Guys that you couldn't get every codex on every character anyway.
That's true.
Well, fair enough. I mean,
factions.
yeah, there's the factional thing, but still.
You could at least get some, and missing out on
Right.
the experience is a bit rough.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I don't think so. No more questions. We would look at BB-8 here if you would ever take him out of the box. How could I ruin this pristine box? Honestly, I just can't do it.
I did see like a comparison video between that one and then there's another one from a different company that's a lot cheaper and a little bigger. It kind of has some different design aspects to it. Apparently the packaging on the Sphero one is like really, really nice.
There you go.
So.
Therefore, I should not open it.
You're just gonna find, you're just gonna find it opened
Yeah.
by your housemate.
Yeah, she'll probably blame the dog.
Right.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah, okay. I'm pretty sure that's it.
Yep.
Remember, next week we will have Bill and Andrew of SWOTOR Economics on. We're going to be talking SWOTOR Economy, Game Update 4.0. So tune in to have some, hopefully, ideas for making lots of credits, because I could do with some myself. Because I have to actually craft and sell stuff on the GTN, which I tend not to, but there's always a first time.
Okay, then. That's a show. If you'd like to play with us in the Utini Knights Guild on the Republic side of the Harbinger server, or in our guild on the Empire side, do a /C join Utini to join the Utini channel. Then let us know you're a fan of the show. You can email questions and comments about the show to OotiniCast@gmail.com. Follow us on Twitter using @OotiniCast. You can find contact details for all of us on our website, OotiniCast.com, which includes how to subscribe to us using iTunes, Stitcher, and the rest. We record the show live every Wednesday at 4:30 p.m. Pacific. Go to OotiniCast.com/live to find out how to join in. Our theme song is from Mevio's Music Alley. Check it out at music.mevio.com. That's MEVIO. And thank you to the chat room. And we'll see you next week.
Alright, she'll keep recording, and could you please produce a Utini Rage?
Let me see.
Whose voice can you do?
Utini Rage! Yeah.
What was that?
I was doing kind of a Jawa thing, but I think I messed it up.
Ah, yes! Yeah, okay, sure. Yes, Snave, I have checked my DMs. It's on! Alright, so Chill, he wants to arrange a time and place for us, and yeah, Snave, you could send us those pre-vetted questions. I tend to freeze if I'm presented with a unsolicited question. So rather than just speaking uncontrollably, I just say nothing, so yeah, give me at least a few hints. Alright, thank you everyone, and yeah, we will talk to you next week with Bill and Andrew, hopefully.
Yeah.
Happy coffeeing.
Yeah, lots of good credit making next week.
Absolutely. Alright, good night. And where's the button? Stopping the broadcast. See y'all.